Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and there is a hidden buff on Proxima that is making you do less damage. And we're going to investigate it today, and I'm going to expose it for you and show it to you. Shout out to all the people on Twitch that told me about this and brought this to my attention, because I was not seeing it myself. I was just playing through it and just being frustrated with the damage drops. You guys have seen this in previous videos over the last few months, so this is not a new bug. Or this is, I mean, it could be a bug, but this is not a new feature that's been in the game for just the last update. This has been here for a while, and it basically only happens in the second phase of the Proxima fight. So I'm going to jump right into the comparison so I can show you guys and illustrate exactly what is going on as clearly as possible. So I had to do a bunch of pre-testing myself in order to get this right, in order to show you exactly what is going on. So, you know, you just gotta bear with me through this phase here. So we're gonna use Nick Fury here. This is stage 22. It's a very low stage. We're not using strikers, of course. We're using bacon, but we're not using strikers because we're trying to illustrate how much damage the character is doing, and we're trying to show when Proxima gets this buff that will lower your damage, how it works, okay? So, again, I don't know exactly how it works, but from the testing, I can kind of understand. Okay, so from the start, we're just going to use Nick Fury's 4th skill to get a baseline for the damage. So you can see here, the baseline damage on his 4th skill with my build and my cards, etc., is about a bar. It's a little bit more than a bar if all of the hits land. It's about a bar if a couple of the hits miss. I did this on purpose, okay? So basically what you need to remember is his 4th skill does about 1 bar's worth of damage. Give or take a tiny bit, but, you know, we can't be absolutely accurate. And also you have to deal with critting, right? If you crit a lot, you're going to do more damage. If you don't crit, you do less. So there. It's about it's a very consistent, very close to exactly 1 bar's worth of damage. And this is when she does not have any sort of buffs that are going to interfere with your damage. And by the way, the buff that she gets when she interferes with your damage, you can see there's a little bit less than a bar there when you don't get the crits. But anyways, it's about a bar's worth of damage. So we're going to go through now and trigger her next phase. By the way, when she does this buff that she does, it's even worse if you're using all defense down characters. It's less of a decrease if you're not using all defense down characters, and it's more if you are using all defense down characters. So right away, you're going to see 2 new icons appear when Proxima goes into this sort of mid-phase animation. And the one on the very far right is like a yellow box with a shield, and then there's an arrow going through the shield. That is the penetration animation, or the penetration icon. That penetration icon, of course, means that she's going to penetrate super armor, barrier, shield, immunity, and invincibility. So if you get hit by those spears right now, you're going to take damage, regardless of what you're doing. She even has iframe ignore for those spears. Now, the one right next to it is another one that you're probably familiar with. It's yellow as well, and it's got a muscular arm. That is a 90% damage reduction icon. All damage is reduced by 90% for 4 seconds. That icon you will see on a lot of other world bosses. That's not what I'm talking about. If you try to deal damage to Proxima when she's in that phase, you can still deal damage, but you're going to do heavily reduced damage. That's not what we're talking about. That's not the hidden feature that she has. The hidden buff that she has is when she does her next phase attack. So in the first phase, in the first 15 to 11 bars, she never does the raining spears attack. But from now on, from 11 down to 0, she will do 2 variations of the raining spear attack. She will do the raining spear attack where you have 1 group of purple circles that appear and rain 1 spear down each. That will also penetrate iframes. That will also penetrate your invincibility, immunity, etc. And then once you get her under 7 bars and she does a phase change where she powers up, then she will do that same spear animation, but this time there will be 2 sets of purple circles. So there'll be 1 set of purple circles, and then shortly after that, there will be another set of purple circles. So it's when she does that she obtains a frenzy buff. And I'll show you the frenzy buff, and I'll show you how much less damage you deal when the frenzy buff is active. But first, we have to make sure that she's not, you know, she didn't accidentally buff herself now. So we're going to do Nick Fury's 4th skill, and we're going to verify that we're still doing about half a bar's worth of damage. So you can see there, it's about half a bar's worth of damage. I mean, sorry, a full bar's worth of damage. So she hasn't reduced her damage yet. She's still taking about the same amount of damage from Nick Fury as she was before. We're going to verify this one more time here with the 4th skill one more time. And as you can see, she's taking about a full bar's worth of damage. So there's no buff yet. Of course, there's the buff from that animation that she did, that brief animation, but there's no other buff. So now we basically just need to wait around until she does the spear move. That's not it. It looks like that, but it's not quite the same. Okay, you get used to dodging her when you practice these sorts of things. Okay, she does an iframe. Hey, Gordon Round, congratulations. Okay, this one also has penetration. You can see it flashes there for a second above her HP bar. There we go. So now you can see next to the first two buffs she has are an energy attack buff and an energy defense buff. The third buff there is red, and it's got a human icon, or so like a silhouette of a human like this. That is the frenzy buff. Now this frenzy buff gives her attack, all speed, crit rate, and remove incapacitation. And it's a 10-second buff. Now, there's no defense there. There's no damage reduction there. There's no all defense. There's no increased HP. So you're like, what's going on, Cynicalex? That's kind of weird. Well, we're going to have to wait now until she does it again, because now that you know what to look for, here we go. We're going to do the fourth skill, and I want you to see how much damage Nick Fury does. Nick Fury might die here, but even if he didn't die. He landed almost all of the hits. Was that a full bar's worth of damage? No. It was about half a bar, maybe a little bit more. So it looks like his damage decreased suddenly about 30 to 40%, maybe 35 to 45%. That's a huge amount to decrease. That's not an amount that you can calculate as being a factor of crit or being a factor of her dodging the attacks. We didn't see the dodge icon appear, the text. So there's something else going on. There's obviously something else going on. She must be reducing the damage when she's in that frenzy state. But okay, stage 22 is not that helpful, right? We're not all playing stage 22 with Nick Fury with my cards. That's a bit strange. Okay, so let's go to a really high stage now. We've identified the problem. Let's go to a really high stage. And this is going to help you guys no matter where you are in the game, because if you're a newer player or you're a veteran player, wherever you're pushing your world boss attempts, whether you're trying to go from 30 to 40 or 10 to 20 or 70 to 90, this is going to make a huge difference for Proxima specifically. We're going to go to stage 80, and we're going to use the following team here. We're going to use Deadpool, we're going to use Dr. Voodoo lead, and we're going to use Shuri. Now we're using Dr. Voodoo to push Deadpool's all defense down above 100%. Again, we're not going to use strikers, but everything that's happening during the frenzy buff, the damage reduction, the all defense down reduction, that is going to affect your strikers. So we'll talk about what you basically need to do, but for now, let's just check out what happens. So again, I selected this stage and I selected this team on purpose. When I just do Deadpool's 5th skill, now I know he has a damage proc obelisk, so it's a little bit harder to calculate exactly how much damage he's doing. It's a CTP of destruction, so if the CTP of destruction doesn't proc at the beginning, then you're going to do less damage, sure. But all I did was the 5th skill, and you can see it did exactly, in this case, it was actually very nice. It was exactly 1 bar's worth of damage. Now I need to pay attention a little bit more here. I was just about to say I can't take damage. Anyways, 1 bar's worth of damage. So it's very easy to remember, just like Nick Fury, it's about a bar's worth of damage. Sometimes it's a little bit more. Again, if all of the hits land, it's a little bit more, but you get a baseline for it. It's about a bar to a bar and a 1/6 worth of damage. And again, if the proc is delayed, if he doesn't crit, if Proxima moves, then you get a little bit less. There, it was again about a bar's worth of damage, maybe slightly more, but you know, we're working with, again, a bar's worth of damage. I've done this on purpose here. Okay, we do another bar's worth of damage. That was a little bit less than a bar's worth of damage, sure. Okay. And so, you know, a bar's worth of damage on the 5th skill. Pretty straightforward, okay? So now Proxima goes into this spear throwing phase. And here she's doing a bit of she's doing this weird thing where they're all bunched up because she's mind controlled by Dr. Voodoo. That's just an accident. But you can see there, she's got the penetration icon and she's got the all defense down icon from Deadpool. So, okay, very straightforward. Now we're going to do the 5th skill again, and you're going to see it does again about a bar's worth of damage. Okay, we didn't proc our CTP of destruction, so that's why the damage was horrendous. We're going to try that again here. Okay, here we go. So we're looking for about a bar's worth of damage. Okay, the timing's not that good, but that was about a bar's worth of damage. So after the phase, after the buff, the sort of spear buff that she had temporarily, I did the 5th skill. It did about a bar's worth of damage. Nothing funky's going on, just like Nick Fury. But now she has the frenzy buff, and the frenzy buff is still up for 5 seconds. We're actually going to wait for the next time she does the sphere thing, because I want to show you very clearly how much worse the damage is, but it's incredible. It's crazy how much lower the damage is. So, okay, we're going to wait for her to do it again. Okay, here we go. She does it. We're going to do the 5th skill here. Okay, we got interrupted. So, okay. Again, not the best there because the tornadoes were in our way, but the damage is horrendous. You can see that you can't even tell that he's doing damage. It's crazy. The damage reduction is mental. We're going to wait for her to do the spears again. Brittany, We want to see this very clearly. And I chose Deadpool also because he heals, or she heals, so there's not as much of a problem with taking damage during the spear attack. Because sometimes, you know, you don't always run away from the spears when they are coming at you. Sometimes you just want to attack her and get it done, and sort of kill the boss fight and kill the stage. But then at the same time, when your damage drops, okay, here we go. So we're going to do 5 here. We're going to proc, and you're going to see that the damage is basically non-existent. Where did the damage go, Alex? What's wrong? What's going on? You did use the tier 3 skill, Alex. The damage is so good. Oh, look. See? And then you see the damage spike. Why did the damage spike? Because her frenzy buff is gone. You can see here the damage is suddenly... Yeah, I didn't even proc there, and the damage was better. So no proc damage. Let's proc here. So no proc damage with the 5th skill is doing more damage than proc with the 5th skill when the Fury buff is active. So, when she does that spear raining attack, she gets a frenzy buff. And when she gets that frenzy buff from all of the testing that I've done and other people have done, she basically she has a flat damage reduction. Now, on top of having a flat damage reduction, it seems that all defense down does not work properly and does not stack properly. So, it's basically like a wash. It's basically like a reset button. It would be the same thing. You should think about it the way that you think about Cull Obsidian or Black Dwarf when he does the slamming shield attack and he gets the Purify icon, the little yellow icon with the feather, and then you can't use all defense down and you can't mind control him. It's basically the same. So what are you supposed to do when Proxima does that? Well, run, switch characters, stop attacking, because you're just wasting. You're putting yourself at risk to die. The only advantage to continuing attacking Proxima when she has the frenzy buff up is to build up your tier 3 skill. But especially at higher stages, you're risking yourself, you're risking dying, because if you get caught by time freeze or you get caught by a tornado or she just hits you and you're out of iframe, whatever, you're very close to her. And being very close to Proxima, she's going to one-shot you with those spears. Not to mention the purple spears that you have to run away from. So running away from the purple spears is great, but you have to do more than that, especially in the last phase when she's at 6 bars and she does the double spears, because that's going to last even longer. So you're going to have to run, and then you're still going to have to consider the frenzy buff. I think a lot of players, what they do, myself included, when we see those double spears, we run away twice, but then we instantly start attacking. And so you actually lose an extra rotation on top of that, because instead of waiting just a few more seconds for the frenzy buff to be off cooldown, to go away, you're attacking into the frenzy buff where she'll take no damage. And then again, you're putting yourself at risk for taking damage and stuff, and you're risking yourself dying. Now, the other thing I want to show you guys really quickly here is Ebony Maw has a different animation, or has a different effect here that's the same as Proxima's effect. And this was posted on Reddit, so I just wanted to cover this one because I think it's important to recognize the difference. So it's interesting that all the bosses are sort of going in different directions and having different builds. I really like this for Proxima personally. I think it's really cool, and I think that the devs should do this more. You know, Thanos has pure debuff immunity. Debuff immunity in the second phase of the fight. Cull Obsidian can cleanse debuffs periodically. Corvus has that little buff phase and he revives. That phase where he rains down spears like Proxima, and he rains down spears and he sort of buffs himself at 5 bars, and you can't do any damage to him. And then now Proxima has the frenzy buff. Ebony Maw has something a little bit different. We're gonna have to get to the second phase of the fight, which is why I chose such a low stage to sort of get there quickly. In the second phase of the fight against Ebony, now in the very beginning of the fight, you can see he's got that yellow icon with the muscle. At the very beginning of the fight with Ebony, for the first like 2 or 3 seconds, he has that 90% damage reduction. So you actually don't want to attack Ebony for the first 2 or 3 seconds of the fight. After that, he does his little buff phase with the big purple circle, and then the 8 meteors that follow you. He does that at 12 bars, and then at 8.5 bars, he will do this next phase transformation. But it's in this phase here where he's going to do an extended iframe. He's going to basically do an iframe where he goes underneath, and he will come up and sort of try to slash you or cut you with this like big shadow claw, and he does that 4 times in an iframe. You can bump him out of the iframe with mind control and charm and things like that, but if you don't, and I think even if you do in some cases, he will still have a damage reduction buff up, and it's that yellow icon with the muscle with the sort of arm flexing on it. So I'm just waiting for him to trigger that buff specifically, so you guys can see that you will also do 1 damage during that. And I wanted to address this just so people know what's going on. There's no buffs here. He doesn't do anything special here. We're just going to heal up so we can take a little bit more damage in case he does something. Do your little iframe here. No, still not the iframe. You clown. Do your iframe. Do your iframe, clown boy. Here we go. So you can see he's got the yellow buff with the muscle, with the arm flexing. He's got the 90% damage reduction. So now when I hit him, you will see that we're doing like 1 damage. You can see 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Those ones are on Ebony. And now when he comes out, now I can deal regular damage to him. So that is the difference between what Proxima is doing and what Ebony's doing. Ebony's in an iframe, and this is a long-standing feature of the boss battle itself. You can see you can pull him out of the iframe, but you'll still be doing 1 damage. But you can pull him out of the iframe prematurely by mind controlling him or by charming him or time freezing him. But that is different. It's a similar effect in the sense that it lowers your damage dramatically and drastically, but it's a different effect because it's not the same icon and it's not triggered by the same thing. Proxima is doing a purple attack, which in Ebony's case, when he does the purple meteor attack, he doesn't get any damage reduction. I tested that out. So you can still kill him during that phase where he rains those purple meteors at you and they follow you. In the last phase where I dodged it twice with Scarlet Witch, the only difference is that that's probably going to kill you. It does even more damage than Proxima's purple spears. So with that being said, let me know what you think of this discovery on Proxima Midnight. I love these kinds of things in Marvel Future Fight. They're few and far between, so we really have to appreciate them. But yeah, hopefully this will help you play against Proxima more effectively. It will help you identify why you're losing damage and why you're losing time on your world boss runs. I know for me, it's definitely going to help me tremendously when I'm running, especially with characters that rely on all defense down as strikers like Mr. Fantastic and Quicksilver. You don't, for example, you don't want to cast your tier 3 skill until that frenzy buff is gone. So that's going to make a world of difference, and hopefully that will speed up your runs a lot. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your comments are down below, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.